What's up, everybody? I've heard some people say, my boss, no, I can't stand him or her. And I'm always thinking to myself, like, are you really sure that's a good idea? Because once people know that you're hard to work with, that you're not a team player, that you lack motivation, all those things like that, you start to take opportunities away from yourself. Promotion, you won't get that. Accolades, you won't get that. And most of all, you'll lose respect. And at the end of the day, we want to keep that respect. You don't want to be the black sheep and you don't want to be disposable. So this vlog will teach you how to deal with a situation where you just don't like your boss. Let's talk. First and foremost, welcome. If you're new to the channel, I'm Della Mack, and this is Mac's Perspective. I'm a leadership development consultant for women of color. Subscribe to the channel and follow me on all my social media outlets. Now, let's get back to the video. Now, you may have a micromanager. That person that's always looking over your shoulder, breathing down your neck, like, what you got going on? Did you tell me this? Let me update that. You know what? I'm going to do it myself type of boss, right? Or you might have that catty boss, the one that talks about how subpar you are to everybody besides you, that type of toxic leader. Or you might have that person that gives out vague guidance, but they're the first one that gives you strict feedback in front of your peers, in front of your subordinates. Terrible. Those are terrible leadership, and it is such a pet peeve of mine. However, make sure that you yourself are doing exactly what needs to be done before you address those types of situations. Are you showing up on time? Are you meeting deadlines? Are you a team player? Are you self-motivated? Do you seek initiative without, someone having to talk to you? If you said no to any of those things, then you might just want to check yourself first. We want to correct that first before we start talking about how to address our bosses that are not good. Now, I just want to address that before we get into the meat and potatoes, Let's just say you're the best thing since sliced bread. Like, really, you're a jewel. You are awesome to work with. You're productive. You take initiative to do things outside the scope of your job, and you're just having a terrible time dealing with, your boss. How do you do with that? First and foremost, what you do not snoot up your nose. You don't make facial expressions to show your disdain for the individual. Because you're a professional and you're working within a professional environment. And there is a proper way to handle this situation. And that is to get on that person's calendar because you want to speak with them offline. Like, I am a person that wholeheartedly believes in nipping it in the bud. I believe some people don't know or they're unaware of their actions or how their leadership style affects other individuals. And if we continue to not address those type of situations, then people are going to continue to act as such. So get on their calendar, have a one-on-one with them, but most importantly, do this offline. You don't want to show that type of animosity or specific feeling out in the open amongst your peers. Now, when I said talk to your boss offline on a one-on-one, that does not mean go in his office, guns blazing, or her office, guns blazing, heated. Let me tell you what happened with me when I dealt with my boss, who was a micromanager at the time. Literally, he had asked me to download the Google Keep app so he could synchronize the notes that he had for my team. And I don't know what he really wanted me to do with that, so I could be tracking what was going on. I don't know, tracking his thoughts. Anyway, it was just a lot for me, and I don't work well with just not the freedom of being creative. It was just a lot going on at that particular time, and I just really needed to sit down with him and have a conversation so that I can get a warm and fuzzy on what his expectations were. So I went in the office and I started with hey, sir, how is everything? Start the small talk in the beginning. And eventually we got to the point, which was, sir, it seems like I'm not meeting your expectations based on the excessive checks, based on, you want me to download a Google Keep app, and he blatantly told me he didn't trust me. I was kind of glad that was out in the open, but it took me by surprise. But he said it out loud. He didn't trust me. I was kind of relatively new to the organization. I'd say about 3 or 4 months, but I thought that was enough time to establish that rapport So I asked him, what can I do at this point so that you can back off, or, so that we can have a better working relationship? And he said, over communicate. And I can admit that is something that I struggled with early on as a young leader, over communicating, because I would get so wrapped up with the work that I was doing that I wasn't going back and letting my head honcho know, hey, this is what we're working on. This is what we're doing, what we accomplished. This is the next 200 meters, 50 meters, and stuff like that. Just keeping him abreast of what was going on with my team. So it was definitely an eye-opener just to have that conversation, because you learn about the stuff that you thought you were doing well. Like I said, make sure you good first. And he ended up helping me as well. So it was definitely a two-way street with that. But I walked out of there, and it wasn't perfect after that, but it was a better situation. It was a better working environment for me to flourish, because it was a no-go before. It was very stressful trying to deal with a boss that's just either catty, micromanaging, and we engaged in all those types of experiences. Like, there's a lot of times I had to address different scenarios with that particular boss, but it all started with having that open dialogue, that open communication, and figuring out what you guys could do as a team to build a better working relationship. If your boss irks you from time to time, and it's human, and it's perfectly natural, find an outlet, find someone to vent to, talk to about it, but deconflict the situation as best possible. I hope you learned something from this vlog. Follow me on all my social media at max.perspective on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Follow me on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. This has been Max Perspective, bringing you a fresh point of view.